This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
Today we have a Bosch oven that is not heating up, so we're going to be changing the bake igniter. Pretty easy to do. We're going to pull back on these two catches on the door, and then we're going to close the door part way and then lift and wiggle it back to make it let go. Pull out these, just slide out these racks. And you can actually do this without removing the door, but it just makes it easier if you can get the door off. I'm going to spin off these two screws. They're standard head screws. And that's holding on the lower panel. And really the lower panel is the only thing you have to get out of the way to get to the igniter. I'll put a link in the description below on where you can get an igniter. You can use a Bosch factory igniter, but you can also use these Frigidaire Electrolux ones, which are pretty cheap, from Amazon. I think they're about 25 bucks. So I'm using a Torx 15 bit to spin off the screw, and it has a little nut behind it, and I'm just using my fingers to spin off that nut. Then I have another screw. I'll do the same thing. I'll loosen it. Sometimes if you put a little oil on the threads before you do this, it'll make it easier to break free any corrosion. This time I didn't. I think I got lucky, but usually it's good to put a little oil on there first. So here's the old igniter, and I'm just going to gently pull on the wires here that are inside the firewall to get these out. And you can see these are pretty long wires. They're going to be connected to two little wires that are coming from the safety valve inside the oven. So I just got to be careful I don't disconnect the wire. I want to just pull it out gently. I can see these little ceramic wire nuts. So this is not the factory igniter. This is one that's been added on. They usually go about 5 years, so maybe this has had a couple of igniters already. So I'm just going to spin off these little ceramic wire nuts, lefty-loosey to take them off. And then I'll separate the old igniter wire from the wires that are coming from the oven. And then I'll just go ahead and splice on the new igniter. So it's pretty easy. Just take you a couple of minutes. You don't want to use regular wire nuts because they get so hot in there. You need something that won't melt. So there's the old igniter. Here's the new one. This is Electrolux Frigidaire. Here's the part number. You can get these at Amazon. Take them out of the box, and then you can use either one of the wires from the igniter to either wire coming from the oven. There's no polarity that you have to be concerned with. So I'm going to braid these by just twisting them to the right, getting my wire nuts ready. I grab one of the wires, hook it to the igniter wire, and then I'll grab the wire nut and I'll spin it righty-tighty and make sure I get it on there nice and tight. Here's the other one, same thing. And then we're almost done. We're just going to tuck those wires back in to the firewall to get them out of the way and kind of get them out of where there's a lot of heat. All right, we'll line up the bracket for the igniter onto the bracket on the burner tube. Put the screws back in. And we'll put the little nut on the end of each screw and just get it tight. It's actually the same procedure that you would use if the broiler went out. It's just right above where we are working now. You don't have to remove any panels to get to it. And use the same igniter, same procedure. So we'll go ahead and get that tight. So if your oven is not heating well or not heating up, or sometimes heats up intermittent, even though the igniter is glowing, it's a bad igniter and it's easy to replace. So I just press bake, and I'm going to press this little button here so the computer thinks that the door is closed. The light will go out, and then it'll slowly start to glow brighter and brighter, and then it should ignite. So even a bad igniter can still glow but not let the gas flow in, because the resistance won't be right to open the safety valve. So that's why it's good to replace these igniters about every 4 or 5 years, depending on how much you bake. So there's a nice blue flame. That looks great. Little yellow tinge at the end is fine, but mainly blue. And then if you let go of the button on this model, it'll actually turn off the igniter and gradually turn off the flame. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put it all back together now that it's cooled down a little bit. Put this lower panel back on with the heat shield or the heat dissipator that spreads the heat evenly. We put that back on. It just kind of sits there, and then you go ahead and add the screws in the back. So just spin them on by hand, and you can tighten them up with the standard head. Go ahead and tighten those up. Alright, so now we can just add the racks back into position. We'll put the door back on. So when you put the racks back in, you got to make sure the curved part points up, and that actually goes in first. These are just some trays. So here's a rack. So curved end goes in first, a little bit of an angle, and just wiggle them in. There we go. One more. There we go. All right. I'm going to pick up the door. Careful, it's heavy. Don't hurt your back. We're going to put these little forks back into the holes. Push in at the bottom, and then bend the door down at 90 degrees. And then take these latches and push them shut all the way against the frame. And then the door should close properly. Yeah, it looks great. Go and set it to bake. Make sure it can get up to 350 degrees. And we are done. Pretty easy procedure. Hope that works well for you too.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button, and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.